Hi, okay, it's Pete again. We're just going to have a quick look this time at how we can create flyers, leaflets, posters, and that kind of thing using PowerPoint. So, if you need to get in touch with me, I'm on Google Plus at +PJ or you can ask Pete a question at askpeteaquestion@gmail.com. Okay, moving on then. Let's page down. So the first thing we need to do before we actually start work on our flyer is actually to do the planning. So what is it that we actually want to appear on our flyer? Why are we doing it? If it's to promote the IT club or to promote the Buddies club, then again we just need to say that that's what it is. Where is it going to be held? So if we look at the poster, we should be able to find out where it's going to be held and also when it's going to be held. Is there a cost associated? It might be that we're going to start charging for teas and coffees or things of that nature. And then also, how long does it take? So what is the sort of time commitment that we're actually asking from people? The next step we need to do then is to make sure we've got some suitable images for the flyer. We need to write the text, we need to make sure we've got the phone numbers and the call to action. And the call to action could be simply a question of saying, hey, why don't you call Pete and ask him? Or why don't you dial this number, drop us an email, send us a text, whatever message you think is going to be most appropriate to get people to our thing. Okay, so the first thing I want to do now then is I'm just going to close this little page here. So if I go up onto the top here, and then I'm going to click New to create a blank presentation. So as you can see, I've got my blank presentation, and this is the way that PowerPoint actually starts. Now, if I'm going to create a flyer, the first thing I would tend to do would be to go to to set up the page. So to set up the page, I go to Design, Page Setup, and then here I can decide what the page is going to look like. Now at the moment, as you can see, it's designed for on screen. Well, if we're going to print it out, we're actually going to put it onto paper. And is it going to go onto A4, or is it going to go onto B4 or B5, 35mm slides? Is it going to go for an overhead or whatever? So I can actually go through this here and choose what size of paper I want. I'm going to put this onto a piece of A4. The next thing we need to think about then is, do we want it in portrait? Now portrait is where it's going to be vertical, or do we want it landscape where it's going to be laid out horizontally? Well, I'm going to go for portrait. So there it is, and as you can see, I've now got a piece of A4 ready for me to start work on. Now what you can also see here is that I've actually got a couple of boxes that's already in place for me. Now they could be a great starting point for us to start work. So if I want to add a title, then you'd never believe this, but I click onto where it says click to add title. So I'm going to call this create a flyer. Now as you can see, that's very straightforward. Didn't take me any time at all to add that in. If I click outside, there it is, create a flyer. Now underneath here I can add the subtitles, so that could be I'm going to do this on YouTube. It's going to be using, see, I can't type. If I could type, I'd have a real job. Using PowerPoint. But you could use OpenOffice. You don't need to use PowerPoint. So this is just a couple of tips there that I've added in. Now, as you can see, I've now created a flyer, and it looks particularly horrible. For a start, I can't spell YouTube. Let's try again. I think there's a capital U, and I think they quite like a capital T as well. Yeah, so that seems to be all right. But as you can see, it's not particularly magical at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up to the top. Now to move a box, if I put my cursor onto the edge, then it will turn to the four-headed arrow. I can then hold down my left-hand mouse key and I can move that off elsewhere on the page. Now these binding boxes here around the side, I can actually put my cursor onto one of those, and that will allow me to shrink the size of the box, so I can actually have a smaller box for my text. So now, as you can see, I've got Create a Flyer and it's appearing at the top of my page. Now it's still looking a bit naff to me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the home area, because on the home area I've got the option to use a quick style. So I can click on quick style, and as you can see, I can then look and see if I can find a style that suits what I'm trying to do. I'm going to sort of click on this particular orange colour there. That seems quite a nice sort of vibrant colour. I'm just going to extend that so it reaches the edge of my paper, make it a little bit smaller, and there I've got the first element on my page. Here I've got my other text, and I'm going to move that again, and I'm going to move that up somewhere up here. So I've got my page layout, and as you can see, this is all centered within that box. Now I don't particularly like centered text, I find it difficult to read, so I've highlighted the text and then I've clicked on left align to bring it across onto the left hand edge. I'm going to move that across a little bit more, just a touch more again, and then I'm going to colour that in exactly the same manner. So that was using quick styles, and then I can choose a colour that actually matches the message I want to use. Yep, I think that one would do it. I don't like the colour of my text, so again I can highlight my text, and then here where I've got the underlined colour, it says font colour. So I can click on the little arrow at the side and I can choose a colour that matches what I want to say. So I'm going to go for that colour, and as you can see, it's starting to sort of take some shape. Well, the next thing I want to do is to make sure I've got some contact details on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert, and then I'm going to go to Word Art, and then I can use one of these character styles here for me to add some text. So I'm going to say drop me an email, ask Pete a question at gmail.com. Now, as you can see, that is ridiculously far too big, so what I'm going to have to do is to shrink that text down. Now I've highlighted the text, and if I go back onto my home page, then here I can see the size of the text that I'm working with. Now 24 seems to work quite well, so I'm going to take that text and I'm going to drop it down to the bottom. Now once again I want that to be highly visible, so I'm going to go onto quick styles and I'm going to choose a style that I think will actually work well. Yep, I think that light blue colour works well, and as you can see I'm building up the elements of my flyer. The next thing I'm going to do is to insert a picture. To insert a picture, I go to Insert, Picture. Now this will show me all the pictures that I've got available on my computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find a suitable picture that I've got on my computer. And again, I can actually choose anything that I actually like here. So I'm going to choose the picture of Sarah. So I'm going to use that picture of Sarah, and I've highlighted it up to the top, and then I've dragged it down to the bottom. Now, as you can see, that is now hiding everything that's behind it. And effectively what's happening here is it's as if I've stuck a piece of paper over the top of the titles and things. So what I need to do is to say, well, I want this underneath the other stuff. So what I do is I right click on there, let me try again, right click on there, and then I can send it to the back. And as you can see, I've now created my flyer on YouTube using PowerPoint. We could use OpenOffice, and you can actually drop me, ask Pete a question, drop me an email on that particular way. So as you can see, I'm adding in the various elements. Is there anything else I want to do? Well, perhaps I ought to add in some sort of a superstar shape. So I'm going to go onto my insert shape and I'm going to choose one of these stars down the bottom here, and then I'm going to draw that into the page. Yep, I'm going to have it actually floating off the page a little bit to say, I don't know, get in touch now. And I'll treat myself to an exclamation mark. So as you can see, I've got my text here, but that is far too small. So let me see what I can do here. Yep, that seems to be a bit better. Now I'm going to rotate that. So as you can see, when I selected it, at the top here I've got my little yellow button, and that little green button, if I put my cursor on it, the cursor changes into a roundel. So what I can do now is I can move that around. So I've actually got a call to action that says, hey, do this now. Okay, the final button inside of here is that little yellow button. And if I click on the yellow button, can you see how it actually makes the cuts of the diamond deeper or indeed shallower, depending upon what I want to actually do? So there we are. I've now created myself a very simple and quick flyer. So if you've got any questions, don't forget you can always drop me an email at askpeterquestion@gmail.com, and I hope it helps. Talk to you later. Bye.